Cynthia Yeung, Chloe Alpert, Lisa Fetterman, and Lewis Hauer. Please welcome them.
I'm Lewis Hauer. It's an absolute honor to be here. I have been on many panels in my life, but never where this is the dynamic, and I could not be more honored to be here with all of you, but also with these panelists here today. So I think we've got about 25 minutes where I want to have you guys hear from these amazing entrepreneurs. You guys just heard from one of them, so maybe we'll come to you last for diving into the meat of the conversation, but I want to have the rest of our panelists introduce themselves, tell us about their company, and we'll dive in from there. Do you want to start?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Lisa Fetterman. I'm the CEO and founder of Namiku. I invented the home sous vide immersion circulator. Who here knows what sous vide is? Oh, okay. Very inclusive indeed. So you guys are definitely my people. For those of you who don't know, it's a precise temperature cooking tool that every single top chef in the world uses. I've written 2 best-selling books on the topic. I'm on my 3rd generation hardware device where we manufacture in America, actually in San Francisco, in the new manufacturing foundry. Our latest device, we ship you the food with the machine, you wave it in front of the machine, it automatically recognizes the time and temperature, and in 30 minutes you have a gourmet meal from top chefs. I got my start actually through raising funds through Kickstarter, because nobody would fund sous vide. They thought it was the craziest thing ever, and this was back in 2011. I'll dive more into the story soon. Want my panel mates to introduce themselves too.
Thanks, Lisa.
Hi there, my name is Chloe Alpert. I am one of the founders and CEO of Medina's Health, and we help hospitals buy and sell their excess and used medical equipment, and we help redeploy it into new geographies where there might be, underserved care. My background is sort of a serial entrepreneur. This is my 3rd company. My first was a spectacular failure. Couldn't raise any venture, was ramen profitable for a couple years. Second company is an insured random number generator product. Our claim to fame is we are the world's largest instant win prize, and we just paid out a $35 million prize last week to a winner and completely bootstrapped that company. And now Medina's Health just raised $4 million, and we have helped hospitals in our first quarter of sales save over $8 million in sales equivalency. So our whole mission is to help reduce waste in healthcare and bring equipment and assets to underserved areas.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Yeung. I am the COO of Cafe X, which owns and operates 3 robotic coffee bars right here in the city. In fact, I think one of them is really close by here at One Bush. So go check it out. Download your mobile app, and you'll get your first drink free. My background is graduated from Penn with degrees in both business and engineering, worked at Google for 5 years, did a number of other startups along the way, including a hospitality startup. And right before Cafe X was actually leading next-gen solution product development for SoftBank Robotics.
Brilliant. And we just heard what Komal does. The title of this panel is Pathways to Success for Diverse Entrepreneurs. I'd love to have you start, and you guys both teased on backstage a little bit of raising money, what that looks like. That's probably, who in the room is raising money currently or wants to be raising money sometime soon for their startup? Wow, not as many as I thought. Okay, well, I'd love to hear just kind of your perspective on how to raise money in this environment. We hear all the statistics of there's money literally falling off the trees here. But it's
Where
never,
are those trees?
It's never that easy of a process. So I'd love to hear just a little bit of your fundraising story, and then kind of what are some of the key lessons to be learned there.
Sure, yeah. So we went through Y Combinator in 2016, and so that definitely helped naturally bring a lot of credibility and a lot of momentum to our fundraise. It was interesting for when I was fundraising, I never brought up the fact that we feed hungry people. That was just a byproduct that, should people ask, that is what we did. I was always about the fact that we were using the world's leftovers to create a multi-billion-dollar business that we can all be proud of. So I think that, that was really where I leveraged the story. I also think that there's never been a better time in human history to be a brown woman. Or to be a woman generally. And we have to leverage that, those check marks that we have to help diversify a lot of these investors' portfolios. So what do you want to know in particular of us raising money?
How much money have you raised to date?
We raised $3.54 million.
Okay. And I'm curious to dig deeper on this, checking the box to diversify a portfolio. Is that the right way to be addressing this from a diversity standpoint, or is it the type of business that you are bringing to the market that is adding to that diversification? Is
I mean, I
it
think
both?
it's both. It's both, right? I think it's that something that's been used against us forever is now used, is something that we can leverage for our own benefit. And if it so happens to fill those diversity check marks, then great. But I mean, that's not why I do what I do, and I don't think about it. I don't like enter a room and I'm like, oh, I'm a brown woman. It's the only time I really realize this when I'm in the marina, and then I'm like, I am a brown woman. But yeah, so I think that it just so happens that both of those things coexist.
Awesome. Lisa, you said backstage that you've never raised more than 1.5?
At a time, yeah.
Yeah. Talk about your fundraising strategy and how that has also related to multiple generations and almost business model shifts
Oh, yeah.
for Nomiku.
Sure. So hardware is incredibly expensive. When we first started raising for to make a sous vide machine, we had to really rally basically a lot of people in America. We traveled all across the United States to teach people how to make their own DIY open source sous vide machines. And then afterwards, I gained the confidence. I was like, hey, if people are spending 6 hours with me making this from scratch, how much value would they get if it just plugged into the wall? So I gained confidence. I was like, hey, people really want this. I'm going to go out there and try to raise money. I talked to 80 investors. And each time I got a no, each time I got a no, I took copious notes, and then after each 5, I would change my deck. This happened for 80 investors. And you can see the Excel spreadsheet. I wrote the reasons why, and they all said no. So what I did was I just went to China with probably around $15K. It cost us $8K to get the airplane tickets, and we just basically went into tremendous credit card debt. Instantly, we were like, we're going to give ourselves 3 months to make a prototype. And then 1 week before our wedding, my co-founder and I we're married, 2 kids.
It's minor detail.
Yeah. Wonderful love story. One for the ages. 1 week before our wedding, we begged our wedding videographers, please, could you help us make a Kickstarter video? We put it up on Kickstarter, and it becomes one of the most well-funded projects in our category that year. We make ultimately $1.3 million just from Kickstarter. And that wasn't like, that was, yes, incredibly lucky, absolutely lucky. And it was that we inadvertently created this giant community. And I had talked to so many investors, people who already knew me already, like I just forwarded to them. They're like, oh, okay, we'll buy a machine and see what happens. And then what happened was that the algorithm flipped it. We just kept raising each time we had a milestone. Like, hey, we shipped, now we raise. Hey, we have a new business model. Now we get data from our Wi-Fi connected Nomiku. That was a raise. We went through Y Combinator in 2015. Demo day, that's a raise. And then when we switched our business model, so we were originally just hardware itself, and hardware became incredibly competitive. If you know sous vide, like you know that I'm not just the only name in sous vide. So we had to differentiate or die, essentially. And we went around, we're like, hey, what's stopping you from sous videing every day? And people were like, well, it's just too much planning. So then we decided to give you the food with the machine, like Nespresso for dinner. It was like kind of a no-brainer because my background as a chef. I helped open Saison here in San Francisco and worked under Marie Batali and Jean-Georges in New York. So then when we had that new business model and another inflection point, like 25% growth month over month, then we could raise again. And this time we caught the eye of Samsung Ventures, as well as backstage. So that's where we are now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Chloe, I'm curious to get your take. We were talking backstage about, and Lisa mentions inflection points in business, then raise, inflection point, raise. You mentioned an inflection point that you've just gone through.
Yeah.
How did that coincide with your raise, and how does it look going forward?
Yeah, I mean, so we ended up raising $1 million pre-product and pre-revenue, and that took me 4 months to do. I had over 200 meetings and ended up with, I believe, 9 investors. And it was a literal full-time job. I was taking 8 30-minute phone calls a day. I was revising my deck, revising my pitch points, my hit points, every single call. And that enabled me to, get that first tranche of capital to take a few shots on goal. And we've spent the last kind of 8 months iterating. We've been doing sales, and we were very lucky that we were profitable in our second month. And then we were originally selling into hospital systems. And very recently, we switched our focus to OEMs, so manufacturers. And product market fit is often described as pull. It's, suddenly your problems completely shift to being unable to keep up with demand with your users. And while we were making money and, having very fast sales cycles with one customer segment, we switched focus to a different customer segment, and it just felt like we stepped on a mine. The whole business exploded in a way where we can't keep up with anything. And that was a really good opportunity for us to show that we have all these inbound from these major corporations, and we're spinning up and doing sales with them within 10 days. And that's almost unheard of in kind of that space. And I was able to capitalize on that event and do an incremental $3.5 million, bringing our total funding to $4 million. And really the thing that's interesting that I found when it comes to fundraising is that it's not important that I'm a woman walking into this room. Like, to your point, what I try to do is really steer the conversation down. It's money. At the end of the day, venture capital is a business model. It's focused on outsized returns. You have to be able to show the fundamentals of your business and the money machine, and how does that work? And the approach that we took was showing a set of knowns. We know 80% of this is true. We've proven it. It's repeatable. We have these 30% left of hypotheses, and this is how we're going to prove them. This is the data that we are going to collect from proving these, and this is how we're going to allocate this money that we're taking from you to do. And I think when you're looking at any sort of funding pre-Series A, it's to refine and prove out a hypothesis. And I think that if you can really show a very deliberate focus on what you're doing and get the investor focused on, the money machine, focused on the problem, focused on what you're trying to prove. It doesn't matter, who, what, when, where. And then the conversation stays focused on the right things, not, are you qualified? Are you going to go get married? Are you going to focus on your kids? It's here's the business, here's the problem, here's what we're proving.
Totally.
All in agreement.
Yeah,
Anything
no,
you wanna add to
totally,
that?
100% agree with that. I think a lot of it is really just about de-risking every aspect of your business. So, in the early stages, when you're seed stage, you're probably trying to de-risk product market fit. Like, hey, is there even demand for this thing? And then, as you go down the line, as you raise more and more money, it's like, hey, can you de-risk the manufacturing process? Can you de-risk, whatever the marketing sort of strategy is that you have? In our particular case, again, we're owning and operating and designing and building these robotic coffee bars, which are unfortunately much more expensive than a sous vide machine. These are not sort of, consumer machines. These are, business machines. We raised about 12 mil, and I would liken the fundraising process in many ways to almost like dating. So you go on a lot of dates. A lot of them you don't get second dates, and then eventually you find that one person or one entity that really, really loves you. Sometimes maybe for completely irrational reasons, against all odds, and they just believe in you, and they go for it, and it's a bit of a leap of faith. So it's very serendipitous. I don't know, even after having done it for a while now, whether there's a particular rhyme or reason to how things work out. You just have to keep on chugging along.
A lot of the time when I was fundraising, I was pregnant. So I have 2 kids that I had during having my startup, and it actually always came up. People weren't cool about it. They're like, so who's going to take care of the kids? Da, 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 da. And I would just address it head on. I'd be like, oh, my mother-in-law lives with me. Here's the plan. La la la. Not my first kid. Whatevs. And then also, like, if they dug in deeper, I would just hit them with some feminine mystique about my product. I'd be like, look at my product. Your eyes are not open because everybody in IoT has been designing for the living room. And why? Because those people, when they come home, they sit in the living room, they're dudes. Like, they think all this stuff happens for them. Like, the food comes on the table, the kids are fed and dressed, like that just happens automatically. I deal with a hidden economy where people might need to cook 3 different meals for their family that night because people have different dietary restrictions. When the internet first came online, this is what I hit them with. Blah. When the internet first came online, it broke every day. What broke the internet? Not porn, not stock trading. It was women logging on at 4 p.m. to look for recipes of what's for dinner. That breaks the internet. Food is a huge strain, especially dinner, on your mind. It starts at frickin' 3 p.m. and then takes you all the way. You're laughing because it's true. It's funny, haha, it sucks. And I'm here to just like, I'm here to end that.
I love it. Wow, so many different directions that I could go with this. But consistently across the board, this piece of determination, being told no a bunch, dating, right? All these analogies that we hear from fundraising, but also just entrepreneurship in general. And Chloe, you wrote a post, and I'm curious to get others' take on this as well, about the presence of ego, right? And in ego in our daily lives, ego in this weird entitled city that we live in, or I call home, but having been away and come back, like, how do you guys think about the place for ego in your worlds and the place not for ego in your worlds?
I mean, kind of to sum up the blog post I wrote, I kind of talked about the two main areas I encounter ego. One is in sort of product development and, you know, the existential existence of our company. The thing that's very interesting is you have to remove your ego to be truly open to understanding how to find the right solution. That's not necessarily what you want it to be, but what is the truth, what really needs to be the solution. And then the second piece of it was just this realization that when you're starting a business of any sort, a lot of people feel entitled to give you advice. And, you know, you may sit there and think, oh, I'm the one in the trenches, I know better. And I think it's really important, if you're in any sort of a leadership role or just any role in general, to remove your ego, force yourself to listen. And, you know, you may know 80% of what they're telling you, but it's that 20% that you didn't know that sometimes can just have earth-shattering consequences. I think, you know, had I been younger and doing this business, I might not have been able to have some of the insights I've been able to gain by just forcing myself to shut up and listen and just get over myself and really, you know, come away with one or two things that I can connect to another conversation, and just that puts together this incredible insight. So yeah, I think ego can be very powerful, but it's also something to be very mindful of. And the more that you can understand it, relate to it, and almost control it, I think it can be an interesting kind of tool.
Any other takes on ego? How you?
I think generally, you know, the general perception is that, oh, you know, you should try to be as humble and egoless as possible. And I do think that's true as a general, you know, rule of thumb. Most people have issues on that side. I will say, though, I think it's also helpful to have a healthy amount of ego, especially as an entrepreneur, because you are going to be rejected every single day, you know, whether it's from an investor or a potential employee that you really, really wanted to recruit, or, you know, even a customer who just thinks your product sucks. You know, if you were completely passive and just absorbed all of that negativity, it would be almost impossible to carry on. So I definitely agree, you know, vast majority of the population, like, yeah, check your ego, but at the same time, as an entrepreneur, you do need to have a healthy amount of it so that you can push through all of the obstacles that are going to be thrown right at you.
Amen.
I err on the side of having more ego.
Yeah, it's like, what would a tall white man do?
Yeah.
And then go off and do it.
×2. I do want to, we have a few more minutes. Are there any questions in the audience? Any burning issues?
The gentleman in the back.
Perfect. Do we have mics out there somewhere?
Or speak loudly.
Or just yell?
Stand up and then ask your question. Yes.
Okay, so if you don't have everything together but have something phenomenal, do you wait, create a documentary called Tech in Black and White, deals with diversity, inclusion, relatability in Silicon Valley? If you don't have everything together, do you wait before you present it and get everything together, or do you still go out, sell, pitch, work, build? Can y'all share some of the process in that beginning stage? Everything wasn't together. What were you doing?
Can I?
Yeah.
Okay. I never waited for anything.
Repeat.
Oh, okay. The question is, you know, he's trying to put together a documentary. He's wondering, like, should he wait till he's more polished before he goes out there and get investors, get feedback about his product, basically? What is like the cycle process of your product? When can you tell people? So my answer is that you should for me, I had to do something every day or else it would die. Like I had to either write a blog post that day about it or sell something. I didn't have my final product, but I had a DIY open source kit that I sold. I could sell my time too. I'd be like, hey, I'm here for an hour to teach you about electricity. Here's a circuit board, and I'll teach you about that. And that fueled me. I kept getting like, the second that I could get $1 was like a second well spent, especially in the beginning. There's a thing in sales. It's called, what is the easiest customer to have? The easiest customer to have is one that you have already.
Yep.
That's like,
Yeah.
yeah. And so like the reason my Kickstarter was even any ounce of success was because I already had customers. They already paid me before for some other thing. It was random, but we had established that relationship. You give me money. Next time I have something, you'll give me money again.
I feel like the worst advice I ever got was you can do it tomorrow.
Somebody gave you that advice?
Yep. that is to date one of the worst pieces of advice I ever got. Your product is never done. It's never going to be complete. It's never going to be perfect. And the problem is, if you measure your startup and your progress in terms of days or hours, you're going to be blinded to your progress. But if you look at where you are today versus where you were 6 months ago, you can see the magnitude of change. And so really all that matters is just do it.
Yeah.
And that's put it out there, get the feedback, get the truth. To your point of the customers, it wasn't ready, but you got out there, they bought in, and your earliest adopters are going to be your most loyal. And you'd be really surprised at what people will put up with when they really like what you have. And so just do it today.
Tying that back a little bit to some of the earlier questions too. So launch and iterate, but you also have to be open to, that feedback. So a little bit is that, especially on the artistic side of things, you probably have a vision of what your documentary is. Go out to the market, see what people say. You may have to change your documentary. Just be prepared for that, but that will ultimately lead you to a better product in the end.
Yeah. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, but start today.
Have it. Another one here.
A number of you have mentioned we, and you keep saying we. So how did you build your team? How did you know there was the right people to bring in to what you were trying to achieve, and then go forward from there?
She married her team member, right?
Yeah. I mean,
We'll start there and work down or up.
yeah, I mean, it's whatever it takes. I met him at the gym, and he has his PhD in astrophysics, plasma physics from Princeton. Around like 4 people annually graduate that degree. I was like, oh, I want to marry him. So we went on a date. 6 months later, we're engaged. And we used the time, like
Close
we
that
were
deal.
really, we took whatever passion we had for the product for each other, and basically we used the company as an excuse to talk all the time and break all the dating rules. We're like, oh, let's have breakfast. It's for the company. Let's have lunch. Let's hang out all day, every day. Let's move in within like 2 weeks of knowing each other for the company. You know what I mean? Like, you know when you have real chemistry with that person. A lot of people will say that their co-founders feel like they're married to them. I'm like, put a ring on it. You'll know when you feel like you can marry them.
Yeah, my co-founders are my brothers. It's
But it's fair.
oh yeah, I mean not my actual brothers, but they really are my brothers. I mean it's incessant teasing 24/7. But I actually my co-founders were former coworkers, and what I actually did is I started a secret weekend co-working group called Good People Weekends, and I basically the only rules were only good people and be excellent to each other. And every Saturday or Sunday, I would say, I'm going to be at this cafe from 12 to 6 working on something. And then afterwards, I'm going to get dinner. And if you have a project, come work on it, hack on it, work with me on something. And did that for about 6 months to kind of see who from my workplace would kind of just keep showing up, and just had that hunger to keep going, especially every single weekend, sacrifice the weekends to kind of work on something. And that's how we kind of dialed down to the 3-4 of us who just, 8 months later, we were just meeting every single weekend, and then it was every Wednesday, and then it was, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and then all of a sudden I'm just like, quit your job, let's do this. So that's, yeah.
So I am a lesbian, and my CEO is a man who is 10 years younger than me, so that definitely wasn't going to happen. I'm also married to a woman right now, so doubly wasn't going to happen. We met while I was at SoftBank, and because I was at SoftBank, basically every single robotics company was talking to me. We just grabbed coffee, hung out, and I really, really wanted to help him. And we just started, working with each other on the weekends, and then before you know it, we were actually really, really working together. So that's kind of how that happened.
When I started, I had no money, but I did talk about what I believed, and for a variety of different ways, people, that believed what I believed were attracted to that, and because I had no money to pay them, it was a great filter for people who were truly committed. So I think that was how we started. I think entrepreneurship, it's its own type of crazy. I have my own insanity because I decided to be a solo founder, and that is, it is own unique challenges. And so now, nearly 3 years later, is what I'm actually looking for, like a VP of Ops and Finance, so like a number 2. So I came this far. I built an incredible team, which is mostly technology heavy because we are a technology company. But it's places like this, when I'm speaking at places like this, that people will come up to me and say, look, I believe that's true. What can I do? How can I help? So to his point, I think I would talk about it wherever you can, to whoever you can, and be shameless about it. Because if you have an incredible idea, like, there are going to be people behind you and that want to support you in whichever way. So that's kind of how I built the team.
Brilliant. Well, I think that's all the time we have. So parting thoughts of shared values and shared passion. Thank you all for being here today, and please thank our panelists with me.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.